What's up, guys? In this video we're going to talk about something gross and disgusting, and I don't really want to talk about it, but I've been getting a lot of requests to do a video on this. So we're going to talk about NoFap. We're going to talk about the effects of masturbation on your body and on your mind, and is masturbating bad for you? Is like having orgasms going to shorten your lifespan? And like, is it going to affect your gains? Like, are you going to be fatter if you have orgasms more frequently? Like all this stuff, like, yeah, so have fun. We're going to talk about that right now. Okay. Yeah, so before we get into that, actually, if you guys like videos like this, where I embarrass myself on camera talking about disgusting things, like how I don't shower, or what we're about to talk about right now, click subscribe. Trying to get to 1 billion subscribers. Yeah, have a ways to go. But yeah, I try to make videos as often as I can, so click subscribe. Also, go support me on Patreon, because I'm trying to make videos full time, and I would like to be able to financially support myself just from making videos and not have to do any of this like other stuff that I do to put money in my pocket. Cool, so go support me over there if you want. Check out my digital marketing channel, links in the description. You can just click on one of those and you'll be automatically subscribed. Cool, nice little, very avant-garde storm drain as well. Okay, so, all right, let's talk about it. NoFap. So for those of you who don't know, probably the ladies who are watching this, NoFap and / no porn is basically this like movement where guys will go 90 days without watching porn and masturbating, right? So like, the idea is that porn is really bad for you because back in the day, you know, our brains are not equipped to process so many naked women having sex at once. And when you see those images and those videos in succession, one after another, which, like, let's be real, that's how people consume pornography these days. So I've heard, I've personally never done it, but that's what I hear that they do. Then, you know, like, it messes up your brain. It makes it hard for you to like bond with another human being. It gives you like erectile dysfunction and like all this other stuff that you know, nobody likes to talk about, but you know, it is what it is, right? So like, I'll tell you what my experience with it is, and then we'll kind of examine, I guess, the science, or what I remember from the science when I used to research this a lot. So I would say, you know, back in the day, I had a girlfriend. I've had a few girlfriends over the years. This particular girlfriend, and let me just preface this by saying, like, I used to have a lot of ideas about relationships and how men and women were supposed to interact that I realize now are probably unrealistic and immature and really just like fantasies. You know, it's like the typical Hollywood dream, like you meet a girl, she's your soulmate, she's the one for you, you can trust her 100%, she'll never ever be attracted to like any other guys, regardless if they're like 8 feet tall and have shoulders like this broad and super popular, but like she's your girl and like she would never do anything behind your back. And like, okay, on the one hand, like that's a nice, that's something nice to aspire to, but like I said, it's fairly immature, and it's not really, and more than being immature, what it really is just comes from laziness, right? Like as a man, and I'll make another video about this, but it doesn't really have much to do with health, but like as a man, like we generally view the whole like women thing as like a lot of work, and what we really secretly want to do is really just like get one and then not have to worry about it anymore and just like work on other things, right? And I believe that's a flawed mentality, but like I said, we'll get to that in another video. So the point is that this one girlfriend that I had, I was like super in love with her. She's a great girl. Like, I don't think she watches my videos, but maybe she does. What's up if you're watching this? But yeah, wonderful girl, but I was very insecure when I was with her, right? She was very hot, had a beautiful body. She was also very young, much younger than I am. And I was very like insecure because I would see a lot of guys look at her, and occasionally I would see her like check out another guy as well, and I got super jealous and just very like felt awful, right? So like, in my own personal quest to avoid any sort of like emotional or mental pain, I started researching all this stuff online. I was like, how to keep girls faithful, how to like, you know, really just like keep them from being attracted to other people, how to get them to be loyal to you, and like whatever, all this stuff. And again, like I said, not so proud of like how insecure I was back then, but whatever, it is what it is. So anyway, I found NoFap, right? And I found that basically like when you masturbate, right, and really like when you orgasm, your body releases a lot of hormones that will encourage and elicit certain behaviors from yourself and from women as well, that are like more prone to like caregiving, right, and less sexual attraction, right? Like without getting too much into it, like the whole red pill truth stuff these days is that women have sexual strategy where they'll like pick one guy to like get into a relationship with who's like trustworthy, maybe not like super good looking, not so alpha, but like he's a good like provider, and then she'll go off when she's ovulating and have sex with a guy who like is a good genetic specimen, either from a physical standpoint or from just like an evolutionary standpoint, like he's a high status male, he like, you know, is just very dominant, right? It's like kind of the give and take. So basically I found NoFap, and I saw that as like a way to like, not necessarily control this girl, but really just prevent myself from being in a situation where I would have to feel jealous, right? Because I thought that like, I got it in my head basically like, okay, if I stopped having orgasms, she would not lose attraction for me and be attracted to other men, because my pheromones would like be going crazy, and like I wouldn't experience that weakness that comes immediately after a man orgasms, right? So that led me to find something called carezza, okay? So this is something that actually doesn't get talked about too much in the whole NoFap movement. Carezza is a type of sex that you have that doesn't, it's essentially sex without the purpose of orgasm. Okay, now this is sex without the purpose of orgasm from both the male and female point of view. Right, now like the idea is that like it's not like the graphic like pumping type of sex that you see like in porn and that you're probably used to. It's more just like slow and like insertion, and then you just kind of like lay there and like move slowly, which at first probably sounds pretty boring to some of you, but like it still feels good and it's still satisfying, and it's very like, it kind of needs to be experienced to be understood really what it does. So anyway, I found out all this stuff. And I told this girl, I was like, hey, like, by the way, you know, when we have sex from now on, I'm not gonna orgasm, right? And she's like, okay, that's weird, but like, do what you want, but I'm still gonna, you know, have orgasms. So like, do whatever you want, but like, I'm not holding back. So I was like, okay, cool, we'll see how this goes, right? Because I told her about the whole like carezza thing, and like, she wasn't down. That's fine, I get it. Like, everybody wants to do their thing, and when you're in a relationship with somebody, you can't tell them what to do, right? And I didn't tell her this was the whole, like, my reasoning behind it. I was just like, oh, it's healthier for you, blah, 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 and whatever, just let it at that. So what ended up happening is that we would have sex, and I would, like, hold myself back from finishing, and really just, like, I guess, participate in, you know, 80-90% of the sex act, and then when, you know, she had had enough, or like if I was like getting too close and like felt myself like just about to go over the edge, I would like stop, right? So like what ended up happening is that, you know, I don't know if it like boosted my hormones or something, but you never really like why do you stop? Think about it, like why would you stop having sex? Is because you have an orgasm and then you're done and you're like, that's it, like I couldn't do it again now if I wanted to, like I'm gonna go eat a sandwich and go to bed. But when you don't hit that point, you can just go really indefinitely. And even if you take a little break, you're still kind of in that state of mind because you haven't really had that final payoff. So like 5-10 minutes later, after you like collect yourself, you're ready to go again. So anyway, what does this have to do with like NoFap and all that stuff? The reason I got into this and the reason I kept it up for so long is, number one, I had a very intense sales job at the time. And I would notice on days following where I would maybe like let myself go and like push over the edge and like, you know, have an orgasm while I was with this girl, 2 or 3 days after that, I would have absolutely like the worst day at work. I would have no energy, I'd have no motivation. I'd be totally drained and just like exhausted, which is pretty congruent with what the research says about, you know, what happens to your body after you orgasm. As a man, and again, this is different for men and women, I feel like women have a much higher tolerance for the intense experience of orgasm than a man does, right? A man, you have one and like you need a break. I mean, most guys, right? Maybe there's like some magical guy out there who can like keep going after one. I'm sure it's possible, but like most men, like, you have that one and you're done. You need like at least, like, I don't know, I need a couple hours, but like I'm sure there's guys who are ready to go an hour, but you still need at least an hour. But anyway, when that does happen, your body releases lots of hormones. One of them is prolactin, right, which is a hormone that I believe like increases lactation. I think men and women have it also, but like it also like makes you go soft, right? And it does a lot of other stuff as well. When your body releases prolactin, like it makes you tired, it makes you like hungry, and I think it does like other stuff that makes you like store fat and just like in general like feel weak overall. And you can like look at the whole like evolutionary aspect of it. Like men evolve to like after they have an orgasm to like get tired and go to sleep, so they won't like leave the woman. I'm just thinking out loud here. I've done no research on this, but like so they won't like leave the woman, and they can like protect her while she's like inseminated or something like that. I don't really know. But basically, like, you know, they've also done studies that have shown that like sexual activity is linked to like a shorter lifespan. I think it was like crickets or something, or mice, or like some animal they did a study on, and they found that there was like a direct correlation with the amount of sex they had with, or inverse correlation with their lifespan and the amount of sex they had. So the more sex they had, the shorter their lifespans were. And like I said, in my experience, that's congruent with like what I've noticed, and I'm sure like with what other people have noticed when they have sex, right? Or when you know, jerk off or whatever. So like, I mean, now I'm not saying like, you know, and it's one thing to say, okay, you can't jerk off and you can't watch porn, right? You can only have sex. If you want to have an orgasm, you have to have sex, right? That's palatable for most people, because I think most people will admit that porn is bad, and like, you know, just really the feeling as a man that you get of like how disgusted you kind of feel with yourself like after you jerk off is just like, I'm pretty sure we can all admit that like that's bad, and that's not good really, like most people, I'm sure. But most people are not willing to admit like that the negative effects of orgasm with a partner are also bad, and that's kind of where I would say that they are, right? But it's one of those things that's like, you're a human being, you live in this world, you're gonna die someday, and like, do you honestly want to like deny yourself that visceral pleasure that's very, you know, integral to being human, just to like get that extra edge at work or at the gym or like whatever? Like, yeah, if you're a professional athlete, and there are some athletes who will like withhold from sex for like 6 weeks before a competition because they feel it makes them even more sharp. George St. Pierre, by the way, MMA fighter, like very talented guy, very hard worker, does that, and I'm sure there's more, I just can't think of any. Yeah, but like if you're just like a normal dude, do you really need to do that? And if so, try Carezza. And if you can't, if your girl's like not on board with Carezza, then just do it on your own. You know, just go until you feel like you're about to pop, and then stop, right? It's really not that hard. It takes a little bit of control and discipline. But I think that at the end of the day, like it's worth it to experience like the benefits that it offers, or just try it, you know? Like if you try it and you don't like it, then don't do it anymore. But anyway, to sum it all up, NoFap is good. Like, you know, watching porn and jerking off is not good. It's gonna like hold you back. I personally, like, I'm not gonna like, I don't want to get into like what I'm doing, but I don't do that, right? Like I haven't jerked off in, I don't know, like probably years now. But yeah, it's just like, just don't do it. Sorry if that's too much information, but it's just not worth it, you know? Like, it's just not worth it. I don't know how else to say it. Yeah, so I'll probably edit that out. Yeah, anyway. Gross. Okay, so if you guys enjoyed that video, you like watching me embarrass myself and talk about like gross things that I do, and probably you do also, click subscribe or unsubscribe if you're not into that kind of thing. Go support me on Patreon so I can make more videos not like this, maybe about other topics that are a little bit more YouTube friendly. Yeah, what else? Oh, go check out my digital marketing channel where I talk about digital marketing. And yeah, that's it. Peace.